Good evening, good evening. Hopefully everybody is doing well. I do have a couple laptops open just so I don't miss any questions or anything today. I get a lot of questions, as you know. The title indicates probably what the most questions I got on topics. A lot of stuff's going on. For those who haven't been paying much attention, we are fully, all of our stuff is now in managed payments as opposed to just one store or anything like that. Result-wise, everything's actually been going fairly well. No real complaints on sales. In fact, if anything, my sales picked up a little bit since I started managed payments from what I could see, at least comparing it before and after. It doesn't necessarily mean it's because of managed payments, but, you know, it's a good sign, at least, I should say. I do see we have quite a few people in already. Hang on just a second there. Topic-wise, though, I do want to touch on the removed listings. And I also want to talk about the payment tab that's on there now as well in the hub, the seller hub, and the best setting for payouts, from my opinion, from issues that could arise. So we're going to hit on those. I've also had some conversation on Google shopping. People asking about that. Supposedly they're offering like free listings. I want to address that just because I think there's a lot of confusion on what Google shopping actually is. Now, Google does have a spot, Google Ads, literally, and then there's Google Shopping, and there's a couple other aspects of Google that has a spot where you can put listings, but it can't be used items. There's so much stipulation, no coins, no precious metal, no valuable metal. I mean, it goes into a huge list of stuff. I have posted it out. I may just do a video on just Google Shopping and ads and the whole works too. I'm going to be digging into that as well. I know the basics on it. I've messed with it before, and I have used it and paid for ads before with it. But the free options that they are offering are basically just, so if you're having your items already somewhere, like in your own site or on, say, eBay listings or something, you can personally go in and manually put those in to be shown in Google Shopping, the Google Ads section, for free right now. That is a thing. It is given out for free for certain criteria that you have to meet. But again, it's not like a site. It's more along the lines of giving yourself a broader reach and more visibility is, I guess, the key to it. It's mostly geared, the free stuff that I can see, and the actual listability is mostly geared towards like mom and pop businesses that have their own merchandise, you know, mass quantity of NOS, new old stock, all new stuff. So it's, you know, new with tags, NWT or something like that is basically what they're pushing with all of that stuff. That's why the amount of things you can list is so centered down to just that type of stuff. Most of my stuff is used. Most of my stuff is vintage, so it does mean no good whatsoever for the listability part, but for the ads and the shopping part. So when somebody searches on Chrome, that's where you're adding yourself into. You're adding yourself into a Chrome visibility, basically, by putting yourself in Google Shopping. Google Chrome is what, like 90% of all searching on standard web now. Tor is pretty popular for those who know about the dark web and stuff, but for the regular web, for what most people see, a Google Chrome search is probably where they're going to use to find anything. So that's what the Google shopping basically is. I know, as I said, there is a specific spot you can list items, but they've got to be new, and there's a bunch of stipulations. I went through and read through a bunch of that the other day. Now, again, I do know Google Ads okay enough to place ads and kind of judge the results on them, again, because I have done that before. But I've got it written down. I'll probably go into depth on that. I do use Google for a lot of things. Google Trends is excellent for many different things, especially the fact that you can compare like 4 different trendings at the same time on the same screen in multiple different fashions. So you can compare them from 15 years ago on Trends, which is, I think, the max that goes back. Maybe it's 16 now, but from the time they started it, which was about 15 or so years, 15, 16 years ago, till today. And you can look at trends for anything. So if you want to find out what's trending, even in toys, you can compare them. You can also compare site performances from one site to the other. And I've looked at that. I've compared what eBay's doing now versus before the pandemic and the whole works and stuff like that too. I may shout that out in just a little segment of another video, just because a lot of people are talking about what eBay's been doing, the revenue they've got coming in, and the whole works on that kind of stuff. I'll get to some questions. Annie says Chrome is 66%. I'm going by a number which I'm not 100% sure, but this number was given out by a U.S. senator when they were speaking in front of Congress just the other day over the antitrust corruption scandal, I guess, whatever you want to call it, going on. And I'm almost sure they quoted 90%. Again, I could be wrong. Annie could be fully right on that. I'm not 100% sure. But I know I heard the 90% figure from one of those hearings. I did an article on it, and I read a whole bunch of stuff. So, again, that may not be correct. I can't say 100%. But we'll get to some more in there in just a few minutes on the questions. I do see a lot of folks tagging in now. For those in Patreon, and I do see quite a few in Patreon, Sunday I'm going to be live at 3 o'clock. I will put up the link tomorrow for those in Patreon. I do have a video for Patreon as well coming out. I think it'll be out Saturday, but I might try and get it up tomorrow. I've got some art projects coming along, so you will see another Art Professor video coming up. The last part for some Christmas cards that we've been working on, and setting up and printing your own items. Now, we'll go into printing on the other one. The services that I use, the most reasonable, the most professional. So if you want like business cards and stuff, they do all of that. And it's somebody I've used for a very long time. And I have not had a single complaint with them. You just have to know how it's going to look when it's printed, I guess, is the key. If you're not up on printing technologies and things like that, and you're not sure on your original image, you might have some issues. But we will delve into that, as I said. I know I've been trying to get some up, but with all the pandemic issues, I'm down 2 permanent loss to 2 members of my staff. They're now working for their mom just because of the pandemic. So, we're moving things around a little bit, and going forward, of course. I should have our stuff Shopify open hopefully by the end of this month, the way it's looking. Again, I get this a lot, and I wanted to address this early on in the conversation today. I have people telling me, you must sell a lot to the folks that watch your channel, and that must be why you're doing so good on eBay and all this sort of stuff. And I hear it a lot. It's no disrespect to anybody for asking that question, but 99% of everything that I sell does not go to any type of subscriber to my channel or watcher. I sell vintage stuff. I sell stuff to collectors. Unless you're a collector of those specific items that I show, you're not going to buy any of the stuff in my store. I'm not trying to get you to buy the stuff in my store. I just want to put this out there because I get that question a lot. I get people saying the only reason you're doing this or that is Instagram and all this. If you follow me on Instagram, I don't post much. I don't post my items on there either at all, really, other than when they've already sold. I'm not open to just show out my username on eBay as well, my store name. It's readily available in my videos if you watch them, but I don't post a link to it, so I'm not trying to draw anybody to spend their money on my items, I promise you. I just wanted to put that out there because that's not my goal at all. I like doing the business, and this is a business conversation when I'm coming on here. I'm not going to say they're haters or anything like that. And it doesn't really bother me that somebody asks that. I can understand the thought, I guess, by, somebody asking that. Because you might think that, hey, I get a lot of stuff out of that. But honestly, who's going to buy a 1910 luggage label for some airline they've never heard of? I mean, it's just not going to happen. And the other items in my other stores, I don't share my other stores. So you can't buy them unless you don't know they're mine. So like my NOS stuff and FBA and all that kind of stuff, you don't even know where they're at. So, I'm not trying to market anybody, and the Shopify aspect is going to be the same items you're already seeing, plus some stuff that I won't list on eBay, but it's all vintage. Again, you're not going to be interested in that. You might be interested in the process, which is what I'm showing. I'm not trying to market anybody the items that I'm selling. It's just not what I'm trying to do. I mean, I do have a Patreon page, but it's very rare that I come out and do anything specific. Hey, sign up for my Patreon. I don't think I've done a single a segment just on signing up for Patreon. I constantly don't even think about that when we get into the conversation. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there, just so I answer it once and for all. I don't get sales from my subscribers or the folks that watch my videos. A lot of the times the videos that you're seeing have been shot a week ago, 2 weeks ago sometimes. The item's already sold half the time. Most of the time, probably, if I'm showing them out in one of my videos anyway. So we'll look at some questions here. We'll see who's on tonight. Hang on, I've got it up in 2 spots today. Cornelius, hey, how are you doing? You beat Duncan today, I see. Duncan's talking about Boer War stamps. I don't get much stuff like that. That's probably more along the lines from your area of the globe, I guess I would say. That kind of stuff just doesn't show up here. Obviously, there were British forces in Africa at that time, I believe. So I don't think that would affect us. I don't have any of those. I don't get those. I do have a ton of Australian stamps sitting here right now. Duncan is from Australia. Yeah, I haven't picked up any stampless covers or anything like that. I have picked up some stamped covers, though, and I do have some. Duncan's huge in the stamps. I like the photos more so, and I don't have a chance to pick up as many fine quality stamps. And then when I do, I keep a lot of them, so I try not to pick up too much so I don't lock up money and stuff that I'm never going to want to sell. I get a lot of photos from China, and I mean a lot of photos. I've got a couple hundred, if not more than that right now, that I haven't listed yet, that are in the bags with my SD cards ready to go right now. I've shown out some pictures of our backstock. Actually, there's a video on some backstock here, and that's just the backstock from where I personally sit most of the time. That's not like all of our backstock. I got a ton of stuff, and we're going to eliminate some of it because we're changing stuff around a little bit here, just trying to advance. I know I saw some questions here. We'll get to those in just a minute here. Rolling blackouts, if you're talking about power backups, I literally have a inverter for my car. So if the power cuts off here, I can run a laptop and a camera. I can plug in 2 things. I can actually plug in 3 if they're not high powered. And I can actually run and still list with the power off here. My phone does Wi-Fi, and it just runs off your car. So it's not a huge ordeal, as long as it's not a huge long time frame you're running. Because you're running your car the whole time you have an inverter. An inverter basically plugs into your cigarette lighter and allows you to plug household appliances or equipment like a laptop into there. When our power was out for a little while, I think we were out of power like 6 hours one day when they were working next door, didn't tell us they were going to shut it off. They messed something up, and they fixed hers, and they disconnected ours at the same time and didn't catch it. So I ended up printing my invoices and all through the inverter in my car. I just ran an extension cord into the office, and I printed just fine, just like nothing was going on. It was enough to do the printer, a light in here, and my laptop at the same time. I could have probably plugged in more, but I didn't want to stress it out, So there's always a way around stuff like that. I also have a power bank, a battery bank, basically. It's a device that costs around $100, and it'll jump a car. You can charge this thing up. Walmart carries them. You can order them off Amazon. You can charge it up, and it'll jump a car I don't know how many times. With us not driving very much and me just driving short distances, it's not enough to charge my battery unless I drive for a little while, for like 30, 40 minutes at a time, which I usually don't do. So I've had to jump it a few times, and this thing just jumps it. It doesn't drain it down, but it will run like a laptop, 2 or 3 laptops for like half a day, just off the juice that's in them from what I personally have tested with these things. So if we're dealing with rolling blackouts, those are 2 options. And the car jumper, again, it has an outlet for a cigarette lighter, so I can plug a inverter into there, so it just drains just like a regular battery backup for something. There's an option for anything, and I've talked about that before. We lived through Katrina and had no power for a week. And from that point on, I said I'm never not going to have some form of backup. And if you've had like car issues or something like that, where, I have Auto Club, so I have Auto Club Plus, so it'll tow my car 100 miles too. But we have that battery aspect too. So if I go somewhere and something happens, boom. I usually keep toolbox in my car. I can fix most anything common in a car anyway. Me and the wife have even put in an engine once before and transmission several times and stuff like that. But just me and the wife did that together because of money. We didn't have the money back then, but it all worked out. So hopefully that gives you a little bitty idea there, Saul. Hey, Penny, how you doing? Can you please tell me what kind of scanner you use again? For our duplex, we have 2 different scanners we use mostly. I actually have a 3rd or 4th one, 5th one, I guess still. But the one I use the most is the duplex scanner, and that's an Epson DS-510, an Epson DS-510. Now, there's a bunch of newer ones, so it doesn't have to be that model, but I would get any ones with a higher number, like a 610 or 583, whatever number's higher. So 510 or higher on that. The ones below 510, the quality didn't seem to be very good comparatively. Now, I have seen the newer versions of it, like the brand new one. They run about $800, brand new off the shelf for the new ones. There's not a huge difference. I don't care about the minuscule amount of a few seconds, not even seconds, just like a 10th or 20th a second it can scan a card, that much quicker. It's just not a big difference to me. You can get a used DS Epson 510 off of eBay, probably for around 100, 125. I got one for around 100, I do believe, shipped with all the cords, and it worked fine. And the software, the drivers are basically the same drivers for our other flatbed. The other scanner we have is I think it's a V600 Epson, and it will scan negative and positive. It'll scan film strips. I can even put glass plate slides. It has it's basically almost like a duplex scanner, but it doesn't do 2 sides. It has a scanning lighted area, I should say, on the top and on the bottom. So it will light it from one side and you scan it from the other. So if you're shining the light through a negative, like a 110 or 120 millimeter, or like bigger like 3x5s or 2x3 negatives, it'll scan all those. And I use that a lot. It will also stitch them together if you've got like big glass plate slides. It only does like a strip in the middle, and it takes, in fact, I've made some. It takes a, what do you want? It's almost like a template to line up everything in there. So, and you can make your own to that same scanner. Honestly, it's rather easy. It's just a matter of cutting stuff out. And I guess it can tell when you have something in there. Maybe it can tell by the black background. I don't know. So you can make your own template to scan other things that it doesn't have templates or, I guess, plastic holders for. So those are the 2 I use. Hopefully that does help. They're great scanners. The V600, I want to say, is going to run you around $250. That one, I personally would probably try and get a used or a new one and not a new used one. If somebody's banged those around or something, I've seen and heard stories about some issues with those if they don't take care of those. But the duplex scanners, they're like workhorses. They're made for mostly documents. But the scan I do 600 DPI on everything, and the postcards, anything I do on that's just awesome. I've never had an issue. It's never damaged or done anything else. I have had somebody show me some scans that his did, and it left some streaks down it. Now, I haven't been able to recreate that. I haven't had anybody else that has said that's happened to them. But maybe there is something wrong with his as opposed to that. But hopefully that does help. Let's pop on down. CDL Picker. My app is forcing me to choose from a bunch of worthless shipping options. It's very hard to figure out what they are saying. I hate the apps if you're talking about on a phone. I don't use phones for anything business-wise. Once you get so many listings and you're doing, Shopify or anything else, anything more than just one platform, it's really hard to, sync them up and to do it effectively. We've got laptops everywhere, so laptops are the best means for us, and my employees can all do something on their own laptop while they're here. Our laptops, but they each have one they usually use. Hey, Eduardo, how are you doing this evening? Good to see you in here, too. Hey, Charles, how you doing? Charles, please talk Christmas and fourth quarter ideas. Christmas and fourth quarter ideas this year. This year is going to be a little different from my thinking on it. For us, we arranged Christmas last year, so I don't know about wholesale this year at all. For those who didn't put money down and have product already produced, I don't know what your route's going to be to get that, and only because of the pandemic at this point. I usually get Christmas, well, we used to get it like in December, January, and then we realized people were beating us out, so we started to move it back to October is when we look into Christmas. Last year, October, for this fourth quarter, that's what we did. in a way, I'm so glad we did it too, because at this point, no one else can get the product. Because factories have been closed. There's the lockdowns and stuff going on. So if you didn't get certain items last year, I don't know if the ability is going to be there. I could honestly see shortages in hot toys again this year, kind of like the Talking Elmo shortages when those things took off. Something along that line. I could honestly see that in several different areas. Toys probably, especially due to the location and the fact that some shipments of things haven't been coming over here for quite some time, or on and off. There's been enough disruption to put things behind. And if the pandemic does start to go over again, even worse than it is now, the stuff could be shut down again at the worst time for fourth quarter sales. That's my concern right now. Again, I've been thinking about fourth quarter for, like 3 months now. Hardly, digging into it and kind of judging by what's going on. Sourcing locations. Again, for Christmas, I don't know exactly what to say on that specifically. It's a tough one. Like if you were trying to source around here, thrift stores are no go. There's no way you're going to get anything at a thrift store around here, unless you're like the first one in on one specific random day where they got a whole bunch of stuff and it went out. I don't see anything. Garage sales compared to last year amount of garage sales, there's maybe 1/10 as many garage sales right now as opposed to what there were last year at this exact same time. So if there was 100 last year, there's only 10 in this area this year. I saw one in our local area in the last, say, 10 days or more. Just one sign. That's it. It used to be signs everywhere. So, if that's your sourcing, that's going to be an issue too. Usually I'd say look at wholesale. Wholesale, again, there might be issues with either wholesale dumping off clothing that they can't get rid of, or wholesale that can't get supplies because, again, there's disruption in the supply chain right now across the board, all over the place. In some cases, it's just because of transportation, because essential goods are flowing right now as opposed to other things. So, that's really a tough one there. I honestly, sincerely always recommend digging into it like at this fourth quarter for next fourth quarter, when a business like wholesaler buys stuff, and we do stuff like that too. So when somebody like that buys stuff, sometimes they got to order stuff 16 months, 18 months in advance just to get it, just to have it produced. Factories, schedule things. There's a huge process with ordering anything in quantity, especially stuff like that. Again, because factories have to, work with production lines, and they set stuff up so like items can be cast or made at the same. I mean, there's a huge process to it. I've worked in a production facility before for foods, but it's the same basic principle. You do like items together if you're vacuum sealing stuff, or I worked in a USDA facility. I'm certified to with USDA and HACCP and the whole works, and we did certain things. Because sanitation rules, there's all kinds of things like that. Sanitation, inspection rules, certain things were inspected, so we always ganged those together, so they were all done at the same time. Production-wise, we're talking about. So that's my issue. I could conceivably see a lot of shortages for hot stuff this year. I could see it. The only offset to that is the fact that the layoffs are still going on. What was it? 1.5 million new people signed up. The benefits were back down to nothing again. So for those who are forced not to be able to go to work, I'm not saying we should or shouldn't. I don't want to get involved in the mask, no mask issue at all. I wear one because I want to be safe. I have a child with an issue, so we wear them. I don't begrudge somebody whatever they think. Just stay your distance, and we'll go from there. There's just going to be so many ifs going on for this year that we're not going to know. I don't know what to say. I wished I had a better answer. I think at this point, that's my most troubling thoughts are the fact that there might be shortages, there might be issues. Layoffs could be way worse than they are now. In summer, pandemics die off, like the flu and all that kind of stuff dies off somewhat because of the hot weather. When we come back in the fall, third quarter, fourth quarter, it could be a different ball game. So the governor of our state was just diagnosed today with coronavirus. So, it's catching around, who knows? And he had no symptoms. Doesn't mean he's not going to get sick or anything like that, but he definitely has it. He's definitely in Columbus now, and him and his wife were just tested from what I saw. I keep up on it. Again, it's something you need to keep track of. Charles, I'm going to have to dig into that one to give you any kind of better idea. Even for like FBA, you run into the same issues. If the pandemic worsens, you may not be able to send stuff in for FBA. They shut down FBA for a while there, and you couldn't send new items in for many specifics. So if you don't get it in there at a certain time, you know, again, you're going to be running into issues. Right now, if you don't have stuff set up for fourth quarter, you got to be looking right now. I don't know any other way to cover yourself. Again, just because winter around here, no estate sales hardly. They're really limited. The garage sales are obviously dead. Flea markets are only inside, so they're half the size usually. They're huge areas with a bunch of people. So is it going to be a packed event? Are there going to be a lot of vendors there, even if things are going better? I just don't have an answer for any of that. I don't think anybody can say for sure with any certainty. Again, I wished I had a magic wand that I could give you the power to figure what's going to be up with that. I am going to probably reach out to Benny again from Tenacious Toys, and we'll have a toy guy on who runs his own toy store out of New York. He goes to the New York Toy Fair, and see about having him on and discussing toys again, what's hot, you know, and that. And I'll try to do it before fourth quarter. Like maybe maybe next month even, maybe I'll reach out and see what. I'm sure he'll come back on again. It was a great show, had a lot of good feedback, and I actually had a ton of people asking to have him on. Tenacious Toys, I talk about it quite often, so you can check it out. He uses Shopify too. Let's go back to the questions in a few minutes here. Let's go back to managed payments, and let's talk about the topic at hand here. I don't know where we're at on time, but I got some time blocked off here, so we will dig into it. Now, managed payments. If you have the option to get managed payments or to sign up for managed payments, I would honestly, sincerely recommend doing it before fourth quarter. Now, I've said this earlier on in the show tonight. My sales went up when we switched over. Again, it might just be a coincidence. I can't necessarily correlate, you know, that cause and effect, that's the reason it happened. But the timing was very odd, and it did seem to do a big boost at that point. Haven't had a single issue with it whatsoever. I'm still having the regular issues if I go to eBay, but from InkFrog, I don't have any of these errors or issues. They all seem to go through listing through InkFrog. I don't know if it's bypassing some normal method you'd list through eBay, but I don't have the issues at all. I haven't had any of the it's not you, it's us error pages that I used to get, you know, by using eBay. So that did solve it. Again, I don't get a dime. I have nothing to do with InkFrog, Shopify, or any of that, or eBay. I get nothing from those folks. So I'm just talking about it because I'm doing it. I'm not trying to push anybody to do it. I'm not trying to push you to go to my stores and do anything. I don't openly give out my stores in a big video or anything like that. It's not hidden, but you know, I'm not trying to market you guys my store. One thing I should say, if you're doing promoted listings, the minute you sign up, you get 24-hour basic payouts. So every day you get a payout. I would honestly recommend, unless you need that money right then, I would change it to weekly payouts. And I'm going to tell you why in a second here from experience. If, let's say, you've got to give a refund and your payout just went, you may not have the cash into there and it's going to be a hassle. There'll be more transactions than you need to do. So if you wait a week, every week it'll give you a payout. If you wait that way, at the end of it, you know, you'll have money throughout the week to pay off anything you may have to refund or anything else in that aspect, shipping or whatever else you may have. So I would always recommend switching it unless you need the money. If you need the money, no problem, just leave it the way it is. But we switched ours over. It was annoying to get the notices. I can just look at the end of the week with everything else. We do a weekly summary of all of our business on all of our platforms. So at the end of the week, I just add that in. That's all I do is I look at the email when it shows up. If it shows up on a Tuesday or whatever the case, I hold it to the end of that week, and that's when I look at it. So it may be like 9 days worth on it, or I mean, it may take 9 days from the day it posts or something. But that would be my honest recommendation. It will make your life a little easier. Let's say you're combining shipping or something, and that's the case. when I do those and I combine shipping through managed payments, I have been deducting the fees that I'm paying for the difference. So if I'm going to give them, if they overpaid like $9 or $3.90 for shipping 2 different items via first class 3 ounces, I will refund everything but the percentage and the 30 cents for the extra fee. It depends on how they paid, of course. So I'm not out anything when I refund those. There's no issues with it. Your combined shipping is what you charge for it. I'm not trying to get a dime more out of shipping. It's just the fact that I'm covering the costs. I know people say it's only a few pennies, but it adds up if you do that a while. And as I said, for us, if I didn't offset the add-on prices, it's going to cost me more at the end of the year, and it could be a couple $1,000s more to be on managed payments versus not being on managed payments. Now I'm talking about cold, bottom line costs. They're giving away more listings though, so on managed payments. So I'm getting more out of it. So in all honesty, even at the end of the day, with the free listings, if they didn't give the extra listings, I would be paying more. So I offset everything I can. There's nothing wrong with it. You're not doing anything wrong. You are being charged, and you're just recovering your fees. Add it in a handling fee if you're worried about how it shows up. You can add $1, whatever you want to do. There's many options to do that. I know, again, people are going to say you don't need to do that. It's such a small difference. Every single day of the week, and probably 2 or 3 times a day, and probably 75% of the time, people buy multiple items from me. So 3 people would buy 3, 4, 5, 6 items each in the same day. And sometimes they'll buy them at separate times. They don't realize that they're all in the same store. We've got a lot of stuff. So if you're searching in certain categories, we've got thousands, even tens of thousands of items in specific categories, and they might just not realize that. And even going through the store, it takes forever for somebody to look through the items in our store in certain categories if there's 15, 20,000 of the same types of things. So you gotta take that in consideration. That's my honest and sincerest, biggest recommendation on managed payments. If you haven't hit the like button, why don't you hit the like button? We got 168 people in house right now, and I only got 31 likes. I really like to hit that 100 mark there on the thumbs up. Hopefully you're enjoying the conversation as well. So if you do, please hit that thumbs up for me there. We'll go into some more questions in just a few moments here as well. The payment tab. If you didn't get the payment tab in your hub, I think it rolls over when you actually start getting managed payments. But if you don't know about it, there is a payment tab that lists all the details. There's a setting option in there, and that's how you set your payment frequency, your payouts from managed payments. Again, it just goes right into my bank account. It goes into a business account. And then from there, I can disperse what would be my percentage versus what would be paying off bills or paying for my merchandise that I buy to turn around and resell. So you can set it up however you want. If you're worried, and I know a lot of people are worried with managed payments about giving out their bank account, just get a special business bank account. Most of the time, you can get a business bank account from most any bank in the country for free. So you can get a special business account that only is there to pay eBay. They won't have access to anything else but that one account. That's what we do with our accountant and the whole works as well, too. So that is your best bet also. Again, you can still do it even with the pandemic. Most of them will let you sign up or will get you at a scheduled appointment where you can sit a distance and wear the mask. Some of them will do it, most of it over line, and then have you come through the drive-through in person where they can see your ID, between glass, and they can do the final part where you got to do the signature card for it. We've done all this stuff for many years. It's easy. Most people aren't going to have a problem setting any of this stuff up for managed payments. It's the same basic thing I have with PayPal. PayPal pays me from PayPal to my bank account right now. I have not had an issue. PayPal has saved my butt a couple of times. So, I can't complain about the payment options we've had in the past. Now, one of the other things, let's go back to Google for just a few moments here, because again, I had people talking about Google Shopping and the Google opportunities. Google pays the same way. You got to give bank account information. So if you're going to go on there, you're going to have to probably give a little more information. And if you're going to do any of the Google options, you will want to tie in your analytical number, your ID, or Google Chrome analytical ID to anything you do, which has a bunch of other information in it as well, too. So if you're going to want to expand your business, you're going to have to give out some form of personal information at some point, whether it's for advertising purposes or something else. You're going to have to do it. I don't know any way around avoiding giving out that type of information. There's just no way to do it. Again, I'm safe. We have a BOP. The BOP does cover theft of my personal data and things like that too. It's an add-on. I work online, so I do get that kind of stuff too. I'll talk a minute about BOP too, because again, I still have people having a clue and they're missing the aspect of why a business owner's policy is important. It covers so much of your business with managed payments and online payments and all the other aspects going along. It covers losses and things like that you could entail. Right now, depending on, of course, your business policy, if you're not able to work, it could also cover your losses from a pandemic. Now, some of them have clauses in insurance policies for just that say they won't pay out for a pandemic. And this all started when the original SARS was going around, and they added all these provisions on there. Right now, there's there's hundreds of people trying to sue their insurance company over those clauses. I don't know where that's going to go, but the point is a BOP is good. It will help you in many different ways. It's a necessity. If your building burns down with all your merchandise in it, what are you going to do? If you don't have insurance, or even if you do have like homeowners insurance or something, a lot of the times those do not cover business belongings in your residency. So you've got to be very careful with that. There's very few business owners policies that will cover this type of business, but there is a good one. It's tied to probably the biggest or one of the biggest insurance companies in the country. So there are many options there for that kind of thing. Not many, but there are several decent ones there too. I don't openly give out the name of who we use, but I will give it out privately or somewhere else. I just don't want to be promoting a insurance company. Again, I use them. I'm happy with them, but I don't want to be pushing something like that. Let's get back down to some questions here. Rosemary, how are you doing this evening? Good to see you in here. And I got Marty right below. How you doing, Marty? Amazon Seller 99. Hey, good evening. How is the Shopify integration coming along? I will have it done hopefully by the end of this month. And we're on track, so I'm not too worried about that not happening. We'll just devote a little more extra hours to mapping once we get the CSV files going fully up to Amazon. I hope to have our Shopify opened running by the end of this month. And with that, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'll have everything linked from our Amazon account as of yet. We'll be upping everything on Amazon with CSV files that way. I want to have a video out for patrons on the CSV files. I think I figured out why I was having issues. I'm ungated in certain categories. I was sending in CSV files for mixed categories. So I had some that were for gated items and some that weren't in the very same CSV file. And I really think that's what was flagging off some of the CSV files that we had. So hopefully I fixed it. Again, if you send stuff like that into Amazon, they don't tell you what the issue is. They just say there's errors or it's unacceptable or you've been refused. They don't usually tell you what you did wrong. It's annoying, that aspect of it. I think some of it has to do with the fact that a lot of the customer support that I get from Amazon seems to be from overseas. No disrespect to anybody, but I think there's a gap in understanding of what I'm trying to say or ask or, stuff like that. Let me pop over this way here. Charles, one thing I can tell you, though, would be Christmas lights, now that I think about that. Charles Lowe, Christmas lights, Amazon FBA. But we sell those all year round. I don't know how plentiful they will be. A lot of those come from China. But Christmas lights do very well with FBA for us. Let's pop on down here. The Cherry Picker, how are you doing this evening? Good to see you on. Jason Blake, good evening as well. And my dog's down here. I'm sorry. I've got like little tiny white hairs from my little chihuahua floating around. Sunday Fun Day, Pamela Saban. How are you doing this evening? We'll just say Pamela. How about that? Hey, Carlene Harper. I could pay someone to do my Shopify integration. You actually can. If you go to the Shopify store, there are services that you can physically pay that will do the entire thing. They'll even set it all up for you. I don't know the cost. I'm not talking about just importing. They will literally set up the entire thing. You'll have to give them permission. It'll be just like a permission, like if you're just going like straight through API, the eBay channel, you'll have to give the permission for them to get to your eBay account. If you're doing like InkFrog, you'll have to give an InkFrog permission with Shopify as well too. But again, you can pay somebody to do the entire process. I looked at the hours and the time and the whole works. I just figured with the amount of listings I had and the original quote I got, it would be some horrendously awful price, $5,000-$6,000. I don't know. It would have been awful high price, and I wouldn't have wanted to worry about it that way and have total control given to somebody else. This way I know how stuff works better by doing it. I made some mistakes doing Shopify. I've made a couple big, not big, but it cost me $120, $130 to begin with. We wasted some time, some labor, but I learned. So, I'd rather make some mistakes and understand how it works from the ground up than just tell somebody else to do it and not get how everything works. I like to know how it works. I'm not rushing. I've been talking about Shopify for a while. Those in Patreon, you've seen my Shopify store, so you know I've been doing this. I like to have it all done. I like to know every aspect of it. I like to know that it's working, stuff's syncing, it's pulling stuff down. So at this point, I wasn't ready. I'm still not ready till the end of this month. That's when we're going live. Let's see here. Designer Store and more. How are you doing? Let me pop down. I know I'm behind in questions. I do try to get to everybody's questions the best I can. Yeah, you must be, yeah, thanks, Eduardo. CDL Picker, you must be referring to the cell phone app, of course. I don't use it. I use it for researching prices, and that is about it when I'm out checking comps. Like, I have other apps and stuff I use, too, though, for checking comps, like records and stuff. I use PopPsych and stuff like that, too. Hey, Regina, how are you doing? I think you have an email in there, too. I'll get to that. I can't say 100% tonight, but I will get to it tomorrow. I should have a video and Patreon up tomorrow, hopefully. Saturday at the latest. It's done. I just haven't even edited it or even looked at to see how much I have to edit on it. I'm not going to give out the topic, but it's one I haven't really covered at all, which should be something you might be able to find right now, too. But Merrick7, how are you doing this evening? Good to see you in as well. Sunday Fun to Pamela, again, will say, she's been in managed payments since the start. We have 2 accounts, so I do have managed payments that we've had for a very long time. And I've said that before, I haven't had any issues. This one was the one I was really worried about because it's a lot of individual different style of items in many different categories. The other one, NOS and stuff like that, NWT and stuff like that. Becky Smiley, how are you doing this evening? Good to see you on. What if I haven't been asked to transfer over yet? You'll have to wait till they ask you. Maybe you can ask them, but I don't think they're doing it that way at all. They've got some plan, some ploy they're using to set it all up with from what I see. Staggering it out. I know there's some more going on it, like the 7th or 9th of this month. I think Carl, I don't know if he's in today, but I know he's mentioned it, and I think 2 or 3 other people have told me that too. And then I heard somebody else talking about that in December they were supposed to go. So I would just be patient and bear with them. By the end of 2021, everybody's supposed to be on it. Since we're back on managed payments for a second, I've talked about this before. eBay removed every listing that I had that had the word token in it. Not just the ones that were in the coin section as well, too. So they didn't just shut down coins. They shut down everything in that entire category, whether it be books or anything else. From what I see, it's all shut down. If I'm wrong, somebody call that out. But from what I saw, that's the case. They've shut down all the other category of items that they were talking about. I've been bugging them. There is no answer, no whatsoever at all on them getting those items back at all. So, and then every time I look at a new payment service, or even like Google or Chrome or any other services, no one allows those items that eBay is forcing everybody to stop selling. Now, people are saying, well, they're never going to want to lose that kind of money over this. With the amount of money they're going to be making for managed payments, even with coins being, millions and millions of dollars in sales and bullion being a ton of money for eBay, they're still probably making 10 times that in the amount of money they're going to net in from managed payments. I don't know if they have an incentive to bring back any of those restricted categories ever. I'm seriously at this point, again, I read a Reddit, And I'm not one to think on conspiracies, but after seeing the Reddit from last year October with the executives involved in harassing the couple and the federal charges, that was open news back last year in October, which was posted all over Reddit. I read a Reddit that said eBay has no plans on getting those items back. They don't care. They're getting so much money. And this is from somebody who said they heard it directly from a upper management person at eBay. Again, I don't know if this is true. This is just some random Reddit that anybody could probably find if you dig into it. That's what the Reddit said. And again, I'm not one to say, hey, let's listen to some screwball thing, but it's from the same area that the other Reddit was from. And the other Reddit was straightforward, 100% true, back from October. And I would have blown that off any second of the day if I would have read that back then. I'm taking more note to some of those eBay Reddits now because, again, I don't see an incentive money-wise. So they might get another 10%. They're getting all of their benefits from this, you know? And I've also had somebody talk, well, a couple people talk about, well, eBay's being smart. They're selling this for billions of dollars, and they're going to reinvest it back into the company. eBay doesn't do that. eBay went and did stock buybacks, which raised their own pocketbook. Again, that's something that doesn't fix the company. It doesn't help the company. It just further drags it down. Amazon's winning because Amazon puts the money back into the site and more investments. They're not, yeah, sure, he's the richest man in the globe, and he's not my type of person at all, but they're investing a ton of money into the company. A ton of money into the company. eBay's not doing that. It's just ridiculous that you know they're not investing that $4 million, what was it, $4 billion instead of buying back stocks. They could have invested in the company. But enough rambling on eBay. Overall, managed payments is a good thing. That's what I would say. But removed listings may be a permanent thing, in my honest opinion. It literally could be. I can't see another service out there that would probably allow it other than PayPal. And most people are steering away from PayPal for the very same reason eBay is, to recoup all that cost. That's why Amazon does it that way. You know, you've got the same basic principle with Etsy already, and other platforms do it as well. Google, Chrome, the whole works. So it's all just like a holding account with them at theirs. They're getting interest off it, and the whole works. But anyway, let's move on to a different topic here. And I saw Annie. How you doing, Annie? And I got Marty, as I said. Robert's late. Uh-oh. Carlene, I do have a question. I have a big lot of vintage clothes. I would like to unload Facebook groups, safe to unload in bulk lots if I go through PayPal. I just sold a big bulk lot to somebody of the last bit of clothing I had around here, and I just used PayPal. Straight through PayPal. I wouldn't do it any other way personally. I don't know on Facebook groups. I'm not a big fan on Facebook in general. I do have a Facebook page, and I'm unfortunately terribly bad at going on it. Again, I'm not a big social networking type of person. I know I'm on YouTube, but I don't get into all the sharing and all that as much as everybody else seems to do. I don't know how they find time. I'm more interested in my full-fledged business going than anything else. No disrespect to anybody. I know it's just not my thing, I guess. But PayPal I do for private purchases all the time. I don't have any problem with it. You just send an invoice to them and use the invoice for your records as well as theirs. And if you've bought something and you're reselling it or just passing it on, just staple the receipts to the invoice you print off PayPal, and that's what you save for your accountant. That's what I would do for you. Safari, yeah, I could see that. I hate Edge. I do use Firefox once in a while. So those numbers may be legit. I'm not sure. Annie might know way more on that than me. Sarah Perlini, how are you doing? Hello from Topics on Stamps. Good evening. Don't ever trust a politician, Don. I'm sure you already know that. Yeah, there's a couple that I have respect for, but not many at all. I don't care which party. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not a big onto those kind of things at all. Let's pop down. I see Cornelius. We signed up now. We got a message from eBay saying they will notify 2 weeks before they switch us over to managed payments. I got a call yesterday telling me if I don't sign up by the end of July, I'm not going to be able to list. Mind you, I'm already on managed payments, and I've been getting these calls like every 2 days. How they can not know that we're on managed payments when it's obvious, There should be some digital, internal way they can just have a switch say, hey, scan the account if they're on it. I'm still getting their annoying calls. It's just a recorded message, but they're constant. Let's see here. I just jumped on my feed. Just a second. TikTok. Well, thank you as well. Hey, Mr. Hale, I got Bob in the house today. How are you doing, Bob? And Michelle right below it. Hopefully Michelle is doing well, too. It is actually a good evening, I have to say. Things have been going fairly well. I'm really surprised. I expected some more issues, sales issues or something, but I can't complain. I'm still like 12% up from last month. Not last year, but last month. And last month was up from last year, if that gives you any idea. And I'm not listing as much as I did, again, because I'm less staff, and we've got some other things we're working on behind the scenes here. So less listing, sales are still up. I'm happy, so, I can't complain. Well, thank you, Melinda Franklin. Thank you very kindly for the kind words. Waste not, want not. Very good. I'm a very cheap person when it comes to wasting something, so I get you there, too. Hey, Crystal, how are you doing? Indianapolis, I've been there myself before, too. I got 186 people on. I got 78 likes. If you're enjoying the conversations, please hit that thumbs up for us here. It does help out the channel. It's not much, but it does help out the channel for us here. I'm terrible on calling that out, but please hit it if you are enjoying the conversation. Rochelle Snodgrass, how are you doing? New subscriber, and thanks for the amazing info. Well, glad to have you on. If you enjoy it, please share. I don't mind anybody sharing the videos with somebody else. A local estate has 30,000 pieces of sheet music. What kind of an offer would you make on this type of lot? I'd have to see it. I would have to see it. It could just be junk. It could be 30,000 with, 100 of each one. I would have to see it. I would not have a problem making an offer on something like that based on what's there. Now, if those are 30,000 sheets of large format like jazz, you could have some sheets that are worth thousands. You never know. I would literally have to see it. You're welcome to send me a couple images, Bob, if you want, in Patreon or something. No problem with that. And I'll be happy to give you like a idea on what type of collection it is. I buy sheet music by the pound sometimes, 50, 100 pounds, 200 pounds. Whatever I can get my hands on, I will buy. I bought 500 pounds once. And if you've watched my channel for any length of time, I was given like maybe 500 or 600 pounds of sheet music before as well too. Like 3,000, 4,000, maybe it was even more than that sheets. I still have thousands I haven't even touched yet. Shelley Middlebrooks, how are you doing this evening as well? Good to have you in. Well, Carlene, maybe you can set something up right there with some of the clothing right now. CC Ryder, how are you doing this evening? Ohio here as well, if you did not know. Yeah, Annie's given out some good information there, Carlene. I know there are some vintage clothing groups. Annie's really into vintage clothing. I saw she actually has a video on 1840s clothing actually out too. Suzanne, how are you doing this evening? Thank you as well. I've got another video in the works right now on white backgrounding and stuff like that. I'm gonna show straight down photoing. So, and I've got stands, which I do get questions asked all the time. I've got camera stands for everything. I used to be cheap on stuff like that, but if it's something that's gonna help my business and stuff, I don't mind buying boom arms, camera mounts, cam stands, or anything like that. I've got probably maybe a dozen mounts for cameras. I mean, like full-fledged pole mounts and things like that. I even got one that mounts for 2 poles on the edge of the table from both sides, and I can move my camera from one end of the table to the other anywhere I want in those spots. I will have a video on more details where it looks a little better. It's hard to get, with the camera lights on and everything to show the whole aspect of it. And I work in some tight, confined areas. We're trying to alleviate that right now. We've expanded some areas. As I said, I've talked about we may be wholesaling out some 3,000-4,000 records, maybe more. I don't know yet. We're still talking about that now. Just sheer for space. for things. We want a studio area bigger than we have it now. We had looked at renting or even buying a warehouse, but with the pandemic and everything else, I decided we best not sink anything else into any more expenses just till we see what goes on. And so I'm not going to do any purchases of a warehouse or anything until at least till next year, when things hopefully are back to a normal standpoint. But a little off topic, but I will have something on that as well. Yeah, you must be talking about the phone app for the white backgrounds, I would say. With like the InkFrog photo editing software. Now, it doesn't necessarily do it white, but you can adjust the color of it as well too, and brighten it up. I have apps that I can click a button and it'll, as long as it's mostly white already, I've got an app that will, and this is for the PC or laptop, it literally will automatically box the item and basically cut it out, and then it'll just replace the background with a white background. I'm assuming that's the same thing that the eBay app does as well on your phone. Again, I don't use the phone at all for stuff like that. I despise it for listing, for eBay. Amazon, I'll list stuff while I'm out. If I'm sourcing and I'm going to get a bunch of RA items or something, and I already have those items up and they've already been sent in, I literally change or add them to our account from the store before I even purchase them sometimes. You know, especially if they're merchant fulfilled items. Just my personal thing. Hang on, let me slide back down. Yeah, and he's got some other good options there too for the clothing. Now, I've heard of those as well too with the vintage clothing auctions. There are some resellers who will just sell vintage wholesale. Maybe you can reach out to one of them and see if they'll list it for you. They're going to take a commission as well if you don't want to mess with it yourself. Clothing, I sent off 72 or 73 pounds of clothing for like what was it, $32 or $33, something like that, I think is what the expense was. I got a business account. We get a discount through UPS, so I sent it UPS, and it went like 4 or 5 states away. We didn't have any issues sending big. It was a big box. It was like an FBA size box, honestly. John, eBay moving me to manage payments in the next week. You should be good to go. I don't see much issues with it at all. I'm glad I waited for this account, but, you know, I don't see any issues. I'm glad I got it before fourth quarter, though. Carlene, on that, too, I literally videoed the clothing. I think it was like a 30-minute video, and I just uploaded it for somebody to watch to sell it. I was thinking about doing a live one with somebody as well, too, when I did it. The only thing is it could have ran into a long time, and my time's very scarce. That might be best, though, and safest for you in that case, I'm thinking. Amazon Seller 99. CyberPower makes some pretty good battery backups. Yeah, I've heard of that name, too. The one I got to jump the car, and then I realized I can use it to run anything else, and it's actually better than some of the battery backups. I don't know the one you're talking about, so that one may be better than what I got, but it does many things is my thinking. So I can buy it, and I can use it to jump the car, or I can use it to run a whole bunch of stuff. We were actually going to buy a second one just for the heck of it, because you can go camping with one of these things and stuff, you know. Can people charge their Tesla if there's a power outage? It depends. I mean, there are solar charging stations for stuff, for vehicles in some states as well, too. A lot of people who have Tesla may have some sort of solar system or solar. You can run a generator at your house and charge your Tesla from a generator. The generator would have to hook into your normal electrical system. And I know people that have that kind of thing, so it's not like a huge ordeal if you know what you're doing. Let me slide down here. From purchase to listing, how long does it take you on average? We buy stuff in massive bulk. I might get 10,000 items in a week. I at the bare minimum, unless it's something I want to get the money back out of right away, it could sit for 6 months. It could sit for 9 months in inventory before it's ever even taken off a shelf. Most things are sorted and listed by like items. So if I get new postcards in and I'm listing postcards now, those items may get bumped up to be listed with those. We'll always list like items, even in postcard genre or paper genre. If I've got a bunch of stuff from Detroit, we scan them together, so I don't have to change text in a title. So I can keep the word Detroit there, or whatever the case may be. Everything is gang listed together by category specifics and things like that. The least amount of time you have to spend switching from categories or item specifics, the better off you're going to be. Time is money, and I've sat there and I've charted every minute of my day for weeks, a couple weeks in the past. I've done it recently too, just to see if I'm wasting any more time and stuff. So I literally try to narrow down the time as quick as possible. Like, I'm going to be going into this for patrons. I'm shortening down my listing process even further with some details and stuff and some of the items and things that I will be selling. Just because some of those items that I'll be listing, I won't have the ability to list certain aspects of them and have them imported into Shopify. So if I can't import them, I'm not going to worry about posting them. And I'm just going to go on in there. Any way you can save even like a half a second or a couple seconds from a listing, you're going to come out ahead. Maybe it's not a lot to a person that's only listing a few items, but if you're listing 200-300 items a day, a few seconds for each listing that you're saving is saving you some considerable amount of time where you're going to be able to list more items that specific day. I mean, it's a no-brainer. Any way I can save time, I do, honestly. I can't give you an answer on that, Cloudwalker, honestly. It just depends on the item. We've had stuff that we've bought, like on a Sunday. I listed it when I got home Sunday night, and it was sold before I woke up on Monday morning. You know, I've had stuff sold within an hour of getting them. An Amazon item, an FBA item, or something like that. I can send something in. It depends on the item, I guess, with Amazon. But we can send it in and have it sold pretty much the minute it's active. You know, just the way it works. If it's like a merchant fulfilled on Amazon, when we were RAing not too long ago, well, it's been a few months, but when we were RAing, I literally added the quantity. We were merchant fulfilling these items. I entered the quantity in the store right then and there, active, live, ready to go. I changed the quantity, and literally I sold them before I even got home. So I didn't even have the items in my possession. I think we even sold some while we were in the store waiting to pay for them. You know, just as long as you're careful, know the boxes are good. Your box issues are your worst case on Amazon items, because if the box has issues and you try to, you know, sell it as an NOS and there's a ding or something in it, it could get returned. People are really anal retentive about condition on certain items. I've run into that on Amazon a few times. Hurricane Hugo, yep. We went through Katrina, so completely understand the hurricane issues. Basically, easy transition, 2 days to manage payments. You should be fine as well. Yeah, Annie, we talked about the Epson. There's a bunch of Epson, and I think somebody hollered out a 400 series. I know 510 and up are good because I've seen them. I haven't touched anything below 510. The lower the number, I believe, the older the scanner. Maybe they're perfectly fine when you go down lower, but I know the one that I have works with the exact same software from my V600 series flatbed. I also got an 18-inch flatbed, and it runs the exact same software as well. I like the Epson software because I can stitch, and I know how it works, you know, inside and out. I know every little detail on the app, so... Classic Rock Lover, how are you doing? Good to have you in tonight. 600 DPI for my stamp scans. Yeah, I use 600 DPI for pretty much everything. Postcards, anything. I think even the 8x10 photos I'm scanning and using 600 DPI. When you're using like a gallery view and stuff like that, it's huge. It looks awesome, 600 DPI. I know you could probably get away with 300, even lower than that, but I like the quality. I don't have any issues. We use the images for other things occasionally too, for artwork, and we're putting some books together. So if I do it at 600, I can use those for anywhere. And at 600 DPI, they're all perfect for Amazon, no issues whatsoever. So at least that's my take on it. Yeah, Marty's the one who said the ES400. He likes it. Super high quality is front and back simultaneously. As long as the scanner says duplex, it does both sides. So just look for the word duplex. Don't have to worry about sides or anything like that. Duplex scanner does both sides. There's a scanning glass strip on both sides, the top and the bottom, and the page goes through. Whatever you're scanning goes right through there. Most of those are document scanners, and they do. I think ours does like 15, 20 postcards a minute or so. It does a whole bunch. I mean, it's as quick as I can drop them into the scanner, it's pulling another one in. And it's literally that quick. So, I mean, you can set it up by DPI. You lower the DPI, it'll go through there a lot quicker. Hey, Steve Elmore, how you doing? Good to have you in the house tonight. Got 174 people in. I got 93 likes. If we can get 7 more likes in the next, say, 20 or 30 minutes, that would be great. We're probably going to run to 8:30-ish or so, depending on how the conversation goes. I try to cut it off in an hour, but conversation kind of takes over. So if we can get a few more likes out of anybody watching this that is enjoying the conversation, that would be awesome. Let's see here. I see Marrakech 7's got something. Have I been to the longest highway, I-27? Yes, I have. I have been there several times back in the day. There was 2 of them. Meridian had one that started in Meridian, Mississippi. We tagged on one. And then there was one in Florida. There's even one up here that does a similar aspect of it too. But I don't do any of that stuff anymore. I don't do any one-off sourcing. I literally... I think 97% of our inventory is bought through bulk these days. And I even went in and added the math up there to figure out how much was bulk versus that. Because I was originally quoting was like 85%, and I thought that couldn't be right after I said it. Like 97% of everything I get is bought in quantity. I don't do any random drives anymore at all. If you see me doing sourcing, I'm doing it for fun, and me and the wife are just out doing something, or me and whoever's out doing something. I don't need to go to any sourcing venues like that at all anymore. I like doing those. I would rather do those any day of the week, but the money-wise is not there for quantity. I can't get big bulk stuff, and I can't flip it like I do. I buy bulk, and it lowers my cost drastically. I guarantee you I probably pay less than most anybody buying the same thing. I guarantee you I can undercut anybody buying one-offs with the stuff that we get by doing it in bulk. There's just no way around it. No way else can I get it this cheap. And that's where our business takes off from, doing it this way. I just did a video on that. That bulk is the only way for me to do stuff like that. If I did the drive through there, yeah, I might get some decent deals, but if I do the bulk, I always got good deals. I don't buy it if it's not going to make me some money. I don't take any chances. I don't take chances with driving around anymore either. There's no way I could break, 200,000 or whatever number I would want if I did it that way. I wouldn't be up this high if I was one-offing. I couldn't keep up. There's just no way. I wouldn't have enough stuff coming in to feed my employees and the listing machine, I guess you would say, and to keep increasing my sales. Getting the merchandise in bulk was our changing factor. I'm literally, that was what started everything for us. Being able to stop the random driving around and just go to a source, pick up a whole bunch of stuff and come back, or order a bunch of stuff, or buy wholesale or a pallet or whatever you want to do. Bulk doesn't have to be a picker like I got, or pickers. Anyway. Hey, Carolina Picks. Well, thank you very kindly for that. I'm Central Time this week. Almost missed the show. Well, you're on. I will be on Patreon Live on Sunday at 3, too, for those in Patreon. We'll do 2 hours again on Sunday for you guys. I got some good topics, too. Again, a Bolo video before that, though, which hopefully will be up tomorrow. I'm ahead on videos this time, so... as well, too, those who signed up for Patreon, I had a bunch of names that I just added into the end credits, too. So if you didn't see your name in there, everybody's name's on there as of right now. I just did it just before the show. It takes like 20 minutes, 25 minutes to do the names if you're unaware. It's got to be processed, and even for one name, so I do them in bulk. They do stay on, so you're not getting dropped off at the end of that. So, again, thank you, Daryl. Thank you very kindly for that. Hang on, where am I at now? Let's go back down here. I've got 2 screens open with chat in 2 different areas. Rosemary's from Canada. I bet we were going to be in Canada right now or in this time frame, so yeah. In Arizona, high numbers for getting sick. They would be a lot higher if it wasn't hot. Let's just put it that way. It's the social distancing and not wearing the masks that are causing it to spread when they're getting together in big groups. And it's proven. A school just opened up, fourth graders or something, and the entire fourth grade class is now quarantined and school is shut back down. I don't remember. I think it was one of the current politicians in office right now, some of his state or school. I don't know. I don't keep up too much on that kind of stuff. If it doesn't affect my business these days, I really don't pay attention to the main politics. I'm not some nut job on the politics at all these days. I'm more along the lines on George Carlin's thought on that, if that gives you any idea. For those who know George Carlin's thoughts on that, he's very open about it. Eduardo, I will be there Sunday, so you can join that one as well, too. John, would love to go to New York Toy Fair. Yeah, I would love to go. That's one of the areas we hope to get to. We've been working on toys, so we've got like full-fledged toys going to be coming out. They'll be in bubble wrap cards, just like you'd see in limited quantities. There'll be more on that. They'll hopefully be ready for fourth quarter, the way it's looking. Again, I might show those out on there because those are more proud of something that we created and did. But they'll be out. They'll be out at some point. Midwest Picker, how you doing this evening? Good to see you in the house as well, too. Sarah, sales went up for her as well. I'm assuming that's with managed payments. Barlight Broker. Yeah, gold and silver's actually down. It was up to 24. It's down to like 22, I want to say, last time I looked. Now, gold is up. I might be going to State Jewelers, too, to sell some gold, and I'll video that as well, too. And I'm going to hopefully get to show you a few other things if I can get in there, too. I don't know how he's going with the pandemic, but I do have a lot of gold now from some very good purchases we've made. So I might need to do a run over there. I figure at this point we've got I would say maybe an ounce and a half maybe of gold, 14 and 18 karat. I think I might have a piece of 10 karat as well too, but they told me I need to have a checking account instead of savings, but I only have a savings account in the U.S. Yeah, I was going to say that is one of the issues from what I understand too. You have to have a checking account. A savings account doesn't withdraw the same way as a checking account. You can hit me up on that, Eduardo. I haven't looked into that totally yet, but I will be going into that topic for you as well. Hey, Landshark Pickers in the house. How are you doing this evening? Good to see you in here. I haven't had a chance to pop on your channel in a little while. He's got a pretty good channel there. Craig's a pretty decent guy. I like Craig. If you get a chance, check out Craig as well. Well, thank you, Rosemary. Cornelius, hi, Don. Do you know if they will take their fees out? They are taking the fees out. Your final value fees come out when the item is paid for. The only thing you pay for now at the end of the month is your the listing, your store fees, basically. Other than that, all the final value fees come out. For most people that are new to this especially, it'll be a big plus. Is you won't have to worry about setting money aside for that. So the amount of money you'll need at the end of the month, whenever your bill's due. Ours is due, we've got the mid-month 15th section. That's when our bill comes due or is posted. So there's the 15th and then the end of the month, depending on which framework you are in. There's two setups for eBay and the payments, just FYI. Let's see here. What video editor are you using for YouTube? I use Corel Video Studio Ultimate Edition, the 2020 version for editing the videos. It'll take some getting used to, I can tell you for sure. I have used the expensive Apple photo, I can't think what it's called. I have used, though, the expensive Apple video editors, and I can do everything that they do with mine, and it only costs, I think, $130 for the update on my version. I mean, I probably have $250 invested into it. Now, I use Anime Studio for some other things that go with that, and I also use Manga Studio as well. I don't think it's called Manga Studio anymore, but I use Manga Studio for like thumbnails and cutouts for PNG files and things like that too. So I don't just use one. And I also record through OBS mostly, or straight through the camera these days. We use a Sony Alpha Series A6400 camera, which is what you're seeing me on right now. The other cameras, and I have 3 other cameras, which are Nikon D5300s. We have 3 of those that we use in the business as well. If you want to know anything that I use, though, in the description box here, there is a link to our Amazon page of items that we use. It has every single thing that I use in our business, and only the stuff that I personally use. There's nothing in there that I haven't used or wouldn't recommend. So I don't have like odd items. The cameras that are in there are only the cameras that I use. The mounts that I use are all that's shown in there. The record players, everything I use specifically is in there. I think the only thing that's not in there are my new LED lights. We bought a very expensive set of LED lights. I'm still getting the hang of now, but it's a 3 set. It's a full color RGB multi LED panels, barn doors. They're all metal framed. It's a professional 3-tier set and the whole works, but I think that's the only thing not listed on there. My dog again, I'm sorry. The Reselling Butcher. I wouldn't be afraid of that at all, honestly. I would just go with it and not have to worry. Again, the only thing I would say is, as I'm saying, the payment tab, go in there. Unless you need the money right now, I would change your payout preferences to once a week. That way, if you've got a refund or do anything else, you'll have the funds there to be able to handle those. One day a week you might not be able to, but it'll really limit your hassle, I promise you, as long as you don't need the money immediately. I could care less if it goes in on a daily basis or even at the end of the week or month. It doesn't really matter to me at this point. Cornelius, you'll get there. I'm sure they're going to have everybody on it by the end of next year, so. Reselling Butcher, I sent about 3 weeks ago, and tomorrow is my start date. I don't know how it even works, honestly. I should probably read up on it, too. You can't sell certain items, which I've discussed. I have a video up as well. It's titled, I think, Everything You Need to Know About Managed Payments, or Managed Payments, What You Need to Know, I think is what it's titled. And I go over pretty much most of the details in there. Now, there's some things that have changed since that video was up. So that video is from a couple months ago, but it's getting a lot of views, so that's probably the best one to watch, I guess, at this point. It'll go into most of the details. You really don't have to do much at all. It's not going to change much. You'll get the Payout or Payments tab in your hub, and I mean, that's literally about it. Plus, whenever they send you a payment, you'll get a notice, and you can look at the email notice. It's locked in eBay as well, and you can open it up and see literally everything you got paid for. Now, if you're new to this, I would honestly recommend taking that up, printing that email, and then on a spreadsheet, marking off the items that you have sold to make sure that you're getting your payouts for them, at least to begin with. I've had people tell me that there was some issues where they weren't getting paid for certain items. So we have been checking. I haven't found any errors with managed payments at all as of yet. But I've been sent a few things that do look to be an error. I can't tell for sure by what they sent me, but it does appear to be as if there are some payment errors in managed payments. Again, anything's going to have some issues. Managed payments has been around for over a year, and I just don't have any issues with it. You know, I'm not happy about the money grab, but I don't really have issues. I feel a lot better, and had they said, hey, in the beginning, we're going to give you so many more free listings, so now your anchor store will have 50,000 or whatever free listings. If they said that from the start and said that your prices for your store level won't go up, I would have been okay with that. Having the free listings saves me hundreds and hundreds of dollars every single month, because we have the anchor store. It's $300 a month. You only get 10,000 free listings, and I have 25, 30,000 in each of the stores. So at that point, you know, I'm spending 5 cents a listing for 40, 50,000 extra listings. That's a lot of money when you add it up month by month by month at the end of the year. So in that aspect of it, I'm okay. Had they said that from the start, or had they said, hey, we'll just go to this, you'll get so many listings, managed payments will be a good plus for you, it doesn't hurt them. If eBay would just give out listings, a monthly fee just like Amazon, free listings for everybody, they would come out ahead because of managed payments. There'd be more stuff on the platform than ever before, and instead of giving PayPal part of it, eBay would get it all. Why, if they would just do that, I could see a big change. That's the one change that eBay could do that would really help improve the site, in my opinion. The other change is to put the darn search results back to all categories and just newest first and be done with it. Stop screwing around with people not being able to find your items. That is definitely 100% far worse of an issue than anything else right now, is that aspect of their searching. Your buyers aren't able to see 20-30% of your items sometimes if they're not in a specific category. So I've talked about that. I got a video on that too. It's very aggravating to me. Let's see here. Let me pop down here. We'll get a couple more in here. Still waiting, Michelle here. Still waiting for managed payments to start, but they have given me the extra listings free since I'm on the list. Well, that's very nice. They're not out anything giving you any listings. They're gaining every time you list something new on the site. They're gaining. The only thing it's doing is taking up a little space on their servers. And at this point, eBay should have some very hardened servers, I would sure as heck hope. I know Amazon does. I've seen pictures of their place. They invest a lot of money into technology. eBay's deficient there again. Again, I don't care for the people running eBay, but the site is awesome for selling your stuff on for the most part. You know, I can't lie. That's why I still do eBay. I wouldn't give up the percentage of sales we're doing off of eBay for that. Let's pop down here. I got the Reselling Butcher. I have a question about managed payments. Sorry, this was asked. How long are transfers taking? It's like in 24 hours. I mean, I changed it, as I said, but every day you can get a direct deposit. Every day. It takes so many days to get in there, but if you're in a set pattern, let's say you start managed payments today, it may take 48 hours for the first payment to show up in your account. And then from there, if you're doing every day, after that 48 hours, the next day you'll have one, the next day you'll have one, the next day you'll have one, the next day you'll have one. You just have to wait, and then it'll continue to go at that same pace. So, you know, there's no big issue at all. I haven't had any issue. I mean, I don't care if the money gets in. I don't always transfer PayPal to the end of the month sometimes. You know, and we still get money in PayPal. I mean, as I said, I'm not just on eBay. We sell on many other sites, so I do take payments with PayPal straight still to this day. Yeah, I only transfer typically once a week, the Reselling Butcher. Same thing here. There's no need. If you don't need the money, just leave it there and transfer it just once. It's less to worry about, less to track down. One email to go over and compare to make sure you got paid for everything. Yes, Michelle, it is true. Fees do come out before they pay you, for sure. Nevermore Sales, good evening. Welcome in. Yeah, Annie's shooting out there too. Shopify, she worked with some Shopify consultants. There's like 4,000 apps on Shopify. There's an app that will do almost anything you could imagine, far exceeds anything you would see on eBay, but every one of them will charge you a small fee for doing that. There's email ones, there's tax ones, there's ones that will simplify your email, there's ones that will simplify shipping, there's ones that will force everything into like master scan sheet from all different there's all kinds of stuff out there for Shopify. Again, it just depends on how much you want to pay for that kind of service here. The Shopify itself, in my opinion, for the amount of listings I'm going to have on there, is very reasonable in my book. It's way cheaper than any other platform. It's even cheaper than Amazon. But again, you've got to bring some of the business your way. That's why I say with Google ads and shopping, Google Shopping, it's all there for you now. And if they're giving it away for free, at least the advertising part, I'm fine. You got all the tools you need right now. If you wait till next year, they may not be giving out your free access to all of this. Again, it's going to take you some time. You'll have to learn how to put the stuff up on there. But you're not technically listing. You're just having your items basically searchable through their system as well as just through the ones Amazon or through eBay. Basically, eBay has had a issue with Google for a little while here, so some of your listings may not show up, but you have the option and the ability to directly advertise or force your listings onto Google searchable platforms. And Google has quite a few different platforms. It's not just your regular Chrome that you're looking at. There's an in-depth, huge hierarchy of Google accessible apps and things. Google has a ton of stuff. You know, I've shown trending, and most people don't even know trending. Trending is the most basic tool from Google, in my opinion, and it can be used for Christmas items. It can be used for so much stuff, and people take it for granted. They don't even think about checking out Google Trending. You can check out item sales. You can compare different items from different sites. You can just literally type in a specific item, the specific site, and you can compare that same item, you know, on a different site. So I can compare eBay sales and Amazon sales and trending sales. You know, so you can see if it's trending somewhere. You can see what's hot and what's not to an extent. Now, eBay does release these days trending reports and stuff. And you got to watch some of their feeds to get it. I don't pay attention because most of the time that's stuff that I don't really care about or wouldn't sell in the first place. But if you're selling NOS, wholesale and stuff like that, you got an opportunity to get some of that information from some of eBay's podcasts. Just FYI. I don't watch much of eBay stuff like that. I don't watch much of anything, honestly. I work most of the time. Thank you, Nevermore Sales as well. Let's see here. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get to some questions. I'm going to move down. CJ, I currently have eBay and PayPal linked to GoDaddy. Will I have to make any changes with GoDaddy once managed payments starts? I'm due to start managed payments on 8/10. You may have to do that. Like with InkFrog and stuff, there are different settings I had to do. If you're on Shopify and you're using the API, the Shopify API, not InkFrog, if you're just Shopify and using the API eBay channel, managed payments isn't set up on there from what I have seen. You would have to figure something out there. So that could be a considering factor on there. So if it's the same basic principle as GoDaddy, you might have the same issues as well as what the API has in Shopify. Just my personal opinion, that could be an issue there, yes. Let me slide down. We'll end it in just a few minutes here. Well, I think they are partnering with a particular bullion company, sir, that will be the only company selling coins and gold, silver on eBay. That I have not heard. I don't know how well that would go over to... there are other platform sites you can sell that kind of stuff on, just FYI. I may go into some of the other sites, too, in the near future. Let me slide down. Yeah, Annie and Marty are talking about the free listings. I am honestly surprised that they did that, but I think that they were honestly losing people that weren't signing up. I've been told that. I'm not going to say who told me that, but it was somebody who works at eBay, that they were losing people and they didn't know what else to do, so they offered people more listings to sign up. That's what I was told. A lot of people were frustrated or didn't want to give out their business information. You know, maybe they had no choice. I don't care what the reason is. I'm very happy with them, with free listings, because I was paying a lot more. I am paying less regardless of managed payments, even if just the free listings is giving me that plush. And I think eBay has realized that giving out that many free listings has actually turned them around a little bit. If you're not paying any attention, eBay is doing fairly well right now, Again, it's not anything they did. It's due to a pandemic. It's not like eBay said, ooh, we figured this all out and we're going to be doing great now. It has nothing in my book to do with eBay itself. It's literally the pandemic. The same reason Bezos is the richest man in the world, since he's melted off of, the pandemic. Let's see here. Mr. Hot Wheels, how are you doing? Hey, Chuck. Yeah, you might not be able to get invited. Chuck's saying that he made a note. They made a note. I was told that they're not taking people in it that way. Again, I don't know how true that is, but I've had several people tell me that they were told they would have to wait their turn until the next round. My comments have been deleted about managed payment everywhere, especially on eBay, managed payment, and Reddit. Yeah, I don't know. It depends on, I know a lot of the platforms that I'm on, if you don't specifically stay exactly to the topic, they'll delete it no matter what it is. So on Reddit, they're very specific on, at least the Reddits I'm on. Yeah, I don't know anything other than that if you're talking about the Reddits. And I don't know where you're specifically meaning on eBay. eBay will pull those off message boards if it's not directly related to the topic in that message board. Or they'll move it to a different section. That's typical on what they do. I know on the eBay for Business on Facebook, they do pull down people all the time for posting stuff unrelated or complaints or things like that. I don't have a problem with them doing that sort of thing on that. I don't allow anybody to post any nasty or anything political. Either way, I don't care what party you're with, or it doesn't matter to me at all. I'm not going to think differently of somebody because of parties or anything like that. So I don't allow any type of negativity even that way. I don't allow any political speak in the things, because all it does, and I used to let people post whatever, but all it does is turn into a big argument into my feed. And then I've had ones that two people argued so much that somebody reported it, and then they dinged the video. It was a hassle, so I don't post any of that stuff anymore. So if anybody's posting any kind of political, I remove them. Not necessarily me, but somebody here. I've got employees that go through our feed and, approve comments and things too. That's about all I ever block, though. Charles had issue with managed payments yesterday. Had to call eBay to get it straight. Couldn't list or get paid because it said I needed to sign up for managed payments. Problem has been on managed payments. So that's what I said. eBay doesn't have everything together, because we're still getting calls warning us that if we don't sign up by the end of July, we won't be able to list anymore. And again, this just happened yesterday, the 5th of August. So they're way behind on what they're doing. One department doesn't know what the other department is doing, and that's the case with a lot of companies, not just eBay. Amazon's terrible on that. One department doesn't know at all what the other department's doing in any way, shape, or form in some cases. So if I have an issue with one department at Amazon, I can hang on just a second here. I'm sorry, I got something going on. They don't sync up. One department doesn't know what the other one, even if they're related issues. It's annoying. Let's see here. What is that? Executioner. It depends on what you sell, whether it's going to be more expensive or not with the new managed payments. With giving away the free listings now and upping the amounts I get, it's actually cheaper now. So, and only because of that, basically. Depending on what you're doing, you may spend less. It just depends on what you sell and how your customers are. Mine are usually older folks, and they'll just buy something. They may not look through my store to find certain items. They'll just look through eBay and not even realize it's my same store. And it happens daily these days, where a person will buy something at one time, pay for it, and then an hour later or 30 minutes later will buy something else. 20 minutes down the road will buy something else. So each one of those I'm charged a 30-cent fee on it. So that's 90 extra cents just for 3 purchases. If they're $5 purchases, it adds up after a while. So what I always do is combine the shipping at the end of the day for the folks, so they'll save the money. So again, I've had to alter how I do that. So I keep, if let's say they bought 3 different items, I'm only going to charge them, obviously, the fee to ship one plus any of the listing fees. Now, in some cases, I just have the handling fee, and I may adjust that for them if they buy a couple different items as well, too. So maybe I'll go into that again in another video, too, for some folks. And if I decide not to have a business account at eBay and switch to a personal account, as eBay reps are recommending, I do My selling limits. Yeah, you would lose your selling limits. Once you start over on a new one, you got to go through the whole process again. Now, we have a couple accounts. I actually have 3 eBay stores. So, I mean, if I really wanted to, one of them does not have managed payments. It's literally one we mostly use for personal stuff in the begin with. So, let's see here. Yeah, most of them have no-fee business checking accounts. Annie is right there. You don't have to put a birth name. You can put whatever name you want. I use a company name on everything that's shipped out from eBay, for everything. And my return address is not the address the items are mailed from either. I mean, we have a trade name we go under. I don't use, my personal name on anything these days. I currently have, CJ, I currently have an eBay and PayPal link to, oh, I'm sorry, we already got that. I guess my feed's way all over the place. Crystal Prof, what's the best time to post products on eBay? I post anytime. I don't worry about time at all anymore. We post pretty much bins, all our bins. Buy it nows are everything that we sell, pretty much, like 99% of it. So back in the day, I used to post new auctions, only auctions, on a Sunday, run them for a week, and they would end the next Sunday because everybody was home on Sunday evening. That used to be the ploy for auctions, but now since auctions hadn't been good for a while. They've been pretty good this year, though, just because of the pandemic. I guess it's something for people to do. But I don't worry at all, honestly, at all anymore. I try to do them in the evening, but since my ploy is to get best offer from an item that's been up anyway, it doesn't matter when I list it at all. I have people buying, worldwide, and they'll buy stuff at 2 in the morning here, 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning. I don't think there's a time that I haven't sold something. So I really don't care anymore at all. Again, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, it really mattered. You had to list on a Sunday evening, end them on a Sunday, and you had more chances. At least that's how it used to be. Yeah, I don't wear any gold at all, if you notice. I don't even have a ring, just FYI. Not my thing. I do sell gold, and I do buy it. Let me see, you're done. Let me pop down here, get to another question. We'll probably end it after that. Hang on, I'm trying to get to another question. Chase, I know they have free business accounts at Chase. I've talked to them before. They actually offered us a account with them at one point. You should be able to set something up. Let's pop down. Yeah, military uniforms, once you've done enough with it, you can usually tell. The fabric is usually the biggest giveaway as to an age on military uniforms. Let's see here. From Australia, and you have managed payments too. Good to know. Military-wise, I've got every ID book you can imagine on military, so if anybody's in Patreon or something, you need something on military, just let me know. My son knows as much or more in some categories on military than I do. We go to the military shows. I'm very good on military. I've got full-fledged uniforms all the way back to the 1880s in possession right now, so I mess a lot with it. I've got probably 2,000 Civil War buttons. I've got colonial buttons from the Revolutionary War and all kinds of stuff here right now. I think my feed's like bounced all over the place. Micro mosaic buttons will be a tough one. Yeah, I've only seen a few of those, Michelle. Real hustler, never starves. What type of things do you FBA? I don't give out much on my FBA account. I'll just say that we have 3 items that we've been selling for years that have been making us a lot of money. Just 3 specific items. We sell anything that I can send in FBA that'll garner me a higher price than eBay goes to FBA. Or merchant fulfilled as well. I do a bunch of merchant fulfilled on some of the vintage items. We do sell vintage on Amazon too. We're ungated in historical collectibles. I can sell vintage vinyl, used toys, pretty much postcard. Anything I sell on eBay, I can pretty much sell on Amazon, either in the collectible entertainment section or historical or one of those categories. Vintage toys can go all over the place too. Yeah, my feed must have doubled or something. Boy, that's really weird. Somebody's telling silver is to break 30. Silver has been going down. It went down $2 or $3 in the last 2 days. Let me see here. Blackberry Thistle Tea, good evening. Sam Dowse, how are you doing? Tito Magni, do you recommend keeping your same username on different platforms to help build a brand, or different names to avoid sketchy buyers or the like? I don't use the same name on each platform. I'll tell you that right now. Some people do it, I'll say for sure. We're gearing towards something different that I can't do on eBay. So on eBay, your seller name, in my opinion, doesn't mean a whole lot. If somebody buys something from you from eBay, all they're considering it is just from eBay. They don't think of it as an individual seller, so to speak. It's just eBay. I just bought this item from eBay. When you ask somebody, where'd you get that from? I got it from eBay. They don't say they got it from Don's store or Marty's store or Annie's store or anything like that. Final Cut Pro, yeah, that's the one that I tried, Annie. I'm more of name recognition on my own store, not an eBay store, because again, I can't build that on there. When you're scanning through the listings, unless you put your name in the title or something, they're not going to know whose item is whose unless they dig in and look at the listing, especially from a phone. So name recognition in that aspect of it, I'm not totally worried about it. You know, and in some cases, I would say maybe name recognition might not be a good thing for some items. Not necessarily for haters or anything like that, but it might look like it's different people selling the same item. So if you've got different prices on different platforms, it won't be as much of an issue. People complain when they see you selling the same item on one platform for one price and on another platform another. But I get more money on Amazon, so I do charge more and put prices higher on Amazon. Fee structure is different. Shipping structure is different. So, and even with Shopify, you can differently price your items depending on the channel, and same thing with InkFrog. You can rotate the prices or up them and mass up. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. So I don't necessarily worry about name recognition in that aspect of it. Cornelius, good. My bill this month was just over $1,000. Yeah, we've had like $3,000 and $4,000 bills in 1 month on eBay. Trust me, I know the bill aspect of it. Yeah, but Final Cut Pro, I'm fine with the Corral Video Studio as long as, again, you know how you know it's going to take you a little while to figure it all out. It doesn't work quite the same way as Final Cut Pro. Yeah, Annie, I see, I got you. Marty, I love Final Cut Pro, but using Resolve now on my newly built PC. I'm surprised at the Corral Video Studio. It's fairly good, I have to say. It does most everything. It does crash occasionally. As long as you know to save and constantly save with a new name and the whole works, they work fine. Any of those video editing softwares that you use, this is one thing people don't know. You're not actually altering the video itself. All those files, like if I'm in Corral, or I'm sure Final Cut Pro is the same way, the file, when I save it in the file format of that application, like a Final Cut format or the Corral format, I'm only saving a text file. It like has like location, this video starts here, and then it pulls all that information together at the end when you compile and actually process the video. But the files that you save in there are text files. You know, just FYI, there's a lot to it. There's more to it than most people think. Now, I'm not sure how to pronounce the Greek name, but that does look to be a Greek name. Welcome to the show. Anton, I would guess, would be the first name, but I'm not going to try and butcher the last name. I've got the Adobe suite, too. I used to use CorelDRAW a lot, and I used to use Photoshop and Photo Paint and all that stuff, too. I know how they all work. I know how to use them all. CorelDRAW I did animation back with in the day. CorelDRAW actually runs a lot of like the billboards, if you didn't know that. It does the animation with the pixel animation and stuff. ScreenFlow, huh? Yeah, I'm a big OBS fan, so I use OBS to capture screenshots usually. Oh, let's see here. Oh, let's see here, Teresa. They have not sent me an email asking me to join. I suppose I have to wait for them to ask me to do it because I tried to apply and said I had to wait. Yeah, that's what I've been told. They've been telling everybody. Let's see here. Marty's in a band. Oh, that's pretty cool. Outside of eBay, Amazon, and Etsy, what other sites do you get similar sales on? It depends on what you're selling. Most other sites, when you go beyond that, are going to be niche sites like Discogs or something, where you're selling specifics. Now, there's art sites that I do mess with, and there's like fantasy and science fiction sites that I do deal with, too, that you can sell on. And now we've got a Walmart account and the whole works, too. I do the HIP platform as well. I mean, there's a bunch of different sites you can use. Joe Lally, how are you doing this evening? The Bread Man in Bradenton. We used to go to Bradenton a lot. My uncle lived on 19th Avenue West. And we used to go to Coquino Beach on Longboat Key. Loved Honeymoon Island out there, too. Once in managed payments, will they take returns out of your bank you use? I would imagine so. That's why I said if you want to set it up, I would go ahead and do it on a weekly basis for payouts. That way, if there is a return or anything, there's always funds in there, or at least most of the time there'll be funds in there, other than one day. I sell enough any day pretty much to cover almost any refund I can imagine, any day of the week either way, but... let's see here. MLCCC2 just joined the chat. Good to have you in here. Have you ever noticed listings that aren't currently listed disappearing and gone permanently? If the listing is over 30 days and you don't archive it, it used to be 30 days, it could disappear where you couldn't do anything with it. So I usually archive it or save it in inventory, or at least I did there. Nowadays I use InkFrog, so I don't even have to pay attention to what eBay does. If eBay deletes one of my listings, it's still an InkFrog, so I can just repop it back out and force a sync, and it's done. It's all fixed up. If eBay loses a photo, loses a title, force sync and boom. I mean, that's my take on it. Joe's talking about using lists. You said Let's Perfectly. I'm sure that you're meaning Lists Perfectly. I don't recommend any of that kind of stuff personally. If you can't sync it, there's no sense in listing it somewhere else in my book. If I can't sync it with the quantity I have, I'd be dead in the water. I'd be selling stuff on multiple sites at the same time. And then with List Perfectly, I think you have to do one at a time. It just basically stores. I could do as quick, if not quicker, just having 3 different screens open, 3 different sites, and cut and paste to each one of those sites all at the same time. I can do 3 sites in the time frame it takes somebody to do List Perfectly, going from one to the other, from my experience. So I don't use that stuff. Most of the resellers that I see talking about it are talking about it because if you sign up for it, they get a commission off of it. That's the end. That's what I see, because they've offered me and all that stuff. I'm not going to push something that I won't use, so I'm never going to advertise something that I won't use. I don't think I've ever put anything out here for something like that. Again, nothing wrong if you're using List Perfectly, but it's in my book a money grab because it doesn't sync. Anything that doesn't sync is a money grab. I don't want the items up somewhere if I have no way to sync them multiple sites. The only way you can safely sell across multiple platforms is to have a sync option, and that's why Shopify is here. We did the Sellbrite and a couple other sites too, and Shopify is the easiest to work with. Even though it's taken us some time, it's still been the easiest. So the sync thing is what you really need. Without the sync thing, I can't go with anything. GoDaddy bookkeeping is integrated with the Managed Payments API. It talks about on one of the eBay help pages. Yeah, that may be. I don't use GoDaddy. Somebody else had told me that. API is the connection software that basically connects like Shopify to eBay. It's like a routing channel, like a turnpike, a highway turnpike or something. It goes straight from one source to the other, and it tells, like, let's say you're pulling something from eBay with the API. That API is going to tell Shopify where everything goes, basically. It's structured so that when you import the items into like another source, it puts them in the correct place and can bring them in and use that data, because you're going from one type of site to another. API works because all databases basically work the same way. That's the gist on an API. A database is a database is a database. It doesn't matter otherwise. A database does the same thing. Let me pop over here too. Hey Dom, how you doing, Dom? Hope you are doing well. Your other job, oh boy. Good to have you in here, Dom. Yeah, and it's a bridge, whatever you want to call it. It's a talking device. Let's see here. Yeah, I say I know what an API is, and sometimes I forget that not everybody might not know what that is. So I do apologize. I say like bin and BO, and somebody was asking what a bin is. Bin is buy it now. BO is best offer. Those are the common ones. NOS, new old stock. NWT, new with tags. You'll see a lot of terms. Maybe I should do a video just on all the abbreviations and three-letter words or three-letter combos for that. Let me see here. My feeds just dropped over here. Let me pop back down. Trade and Post Pickers, how are you doing this evening? And Alex Trebek is in the house too. Good to have you. Yeah, managed payments I haven't had any concern about, as I said. Summers 422, how are you doing this evening? I've done the refunds on managed payments already, and I didn't have any issues with it. Again, I had funds in there to do it. It's just, you don't even really know it's managed payments versus PayPal, basically, other than you don't have to go to PayPal. So I haven't had any issues. eBay managed payments doesn't work on the buyer side. I keep adding my credit cards. I have to use PayPal then, and it will go through with the same credit card. Now, I haven't heard that on that at all. I haven't had a single issue whatsoever that I can see from my end on it. And I haven't. You can go in and look to see which sales didn't go through for various reasons on the shoot. What is that? It's under settings. I think it shows up now in the block bidder or the blocked listing list. I'll have to look into that, but I'm almost sure somebody showed me a section where you can see the ones that aren't being processed, and I didn't see any if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to dig into that though. Let me see here. Trade and Post, for like with the signing up for the other account, they'll have to go through your banking information and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's nothing different. Even though you might be using the same bank account, they still have to do the same process. And if you're using the same bank account, they may have to have an extra verification on your account to make sure it's actually you and not somebody trying to use your bank account because it's already been used before. So just be patient. It took us like 6 weeks or better to get totally into it. So maybe longer than that even, if I'm not mistaken. I find I pay approximately 12.34% with managed payments. That's about roughly what we are, which is a hair more, I think, depending on what you were paying before. It depends on the category, too, if I'm not mistaken. Sam Dallas, eBay took down a bunch of my listings, 1940s vintage Johnson gold pennants. If you put bulk or scrap or anything like that in the title, they're definitely going to take them down. And somebody else told me that they're taking down lots that could be used or determined to be scrap, even if you're not selling them as scrap gold. So don't think you're going to get away with trying to list like a lot of gold jewelry or something like that. They may still get turned in or pulled down. Anything that can be construed as scrap gold or sold as a precious metal could get those ones pulled down. They're not dinging people for those pull downs now. When they switched this over and they ended a couple hundred, well, more, I think it was like 200 or 300, maybe 400 listings in the coins token section, we didn't get dinged. They just pulled them all down. So, you know, they said you should do it ahead of time, but I was just, if they're going to force me to take them down, I let them do it. You know, especially since they're not dinging everybody at this point. Well, thank you, Michelle. Thank you very kindly. We did get up to 125 likes, so that's always good. We'll probably end it out here because I'm way past what I said I would do. Again, I get sidetracked on the time, and I may not pay attention to when I'm supposed to, but we'll end it at here. I do appreciate everybody coming on. YouTube video is done for tomorrow already. The video I put up last night, if you didn't watch that one yet, I would honestly recommend it. I talk about doing $100,000 on eBay. Amazon, eBay, and that's take-home pay. I'm not talking about, you know, selling it. That is something that's possible. Please watch the video if you want to know where we got to this point, how we got there, and what did it for us, because I lay it all out there. Truth be told, that's literally in that video is when things changed for us and how we got to the point we are right now. So anyway, I'll let it go with that. I appreciate everybody coming on. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Play it safe. Get inventory now while you can. We don't know what's going to happen towards the end of the year, so be ready. Get all you can right now while it's still cheap and still available. But have a good evening.